Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as Laugh Lovely Angela, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my fireplace and built-in project progress. This project is not wrapped up just yet. We still have a short honey-do list left of things that we need to cross off. However, we have come such a long way from where we originated of what the house would look like when we first moved in to where we are at today. And seeing my inspiration and my plan come to life for the space has really just been so exciting. We have enjoyed it so very much. Even in its unfinished state, it makes such an impact in our home. But I'm getting ahead of myself. All of the footage that I'm going to be sharing today is from summertime until about 4 or 5 days before baby girl joined the family. So she was born the day after Christmas, and a week before I had her, we were grouting this fireplace. Baby still didn't come grouting a fireplace. She was very snuggly, but I digress. This actually ended up being a project that has been on the plan of to-do of what we wanted to accomplish in our home. Our home is very builder grade. We're looking to add in character in any way we can, making things intentional, adding storage to our space, and just making it more of what we love, our style. But we replaced all the flooring in our home over the summer to this beautiful lighter flooring from Cali floors. I will put a little clip so you guys can see the color of it. I know you've seen it here and there in different videos, but when it comes to LVP, it is a floating floor, so you cannot put cabinetry on top of it. So we knew we wanted the built-ins done the right way, and so we needed to run the flooring up to them rather than having to work around it later on. It was already something we were planning. Plus, demoing a fireplace and having to be careful are just things that don't belong together. So when we were taking up the flooring, my lovely mother-in-law suggested that we should probably just take down the fireplace while we were at it. And I don't think I took even a second's breath to say, absolutely, let's grab a sledgehammer. So that is how we spiraled into doing the flooring and the fireplace project all at the same time. It's also why things took a little bit longer. These projects were only happening on the weekends because obviously my husband works full time. I work as well, so it just made it a little bit difficult. But I want to share with you guys the inspiration. I always like to create a mood board. I did the same thing when I did the half bathroom downstairs. If you guys missed that series, I will have it linked below. But I did the same thing for the built-ins of what we wanted to accomplish in the space. We wanted it to be a statement. We wanted to add character and just lots of warmth in our home. And like even just looking at this shot right here, it adds so much to the space and we love it so very much. But I'm going to share a quick glimpse of what my sketchy mood board was of what I wanted to accomplish in the space. This combination of things that we tweaked over time to get the end goal vision that we wanted. But before we even get into that whole thing, let's start with what the home actually looked like when we first moved in. They had a stacked stone that is that gray, clay, red kind of combination. No grouting at all. The stone was unfortunately not in great shape either, so it was not something we were looking to salvage. Plus, with how lack of depth the stone had, the built-ins were going to stand out farther than the actual fireplace. And that's something, a design element, that personally I was not going to be a fan of. So we did actually demo the whole fireplace, obviously use the same insert that we already had, but we built the fireplace portion out an additional foot. So that way it stands out further from the actual built-ins. That's just something that I wanted to make sure was incorporated. And even though I would ideally have there be more of a difference, our home is very narrow and I didn't want the fireplace to feel like it was sitting on your lap while you were watching TV. So I digress. We're gonna get more into it, but here is the progress of our fireplace and built-in project so far. Now here's a reminder of where we are, starting off with the bare bones after rebuilding the fireplace. Again, we built it out an additional foot from where it previously was, so that way I can have 14-inch base cabinets and 12-inch uppers on both sides of the fireplace. But we had to start off with finding a mantle, and we wanted to find a reclaimed wood one. We went to Bloom and Johnson in Davidson, North Carolina. They had so many different options. It was really helpful bringing in a sample of the stone we were using. I also brought a piece of the flooring that we did in our home, as well as a painted canvas of what color the built-ins were going to be, and we could not have found a more perfect match to our flooring. For stone, we went with Dorado rough cut in Loire Valley. It is a lighter color, has some variation and warmth to it, and it has that more old world type of look, so it'll add a lot of character to our home. We put up cement boards so that way we didn't need to do the lath and scratch coat adhesive. We have the steel bracket for the mantle, as it is quite heavy, and it did require my husband, myself, and our son to be able to put this thing on the wall, but it is so stunning and adds so much character. For the actual built-ins themselves, we did opt to custom make them. You can easily just get some stock cabinets from Lowe's or Home Depot and trim them out in a way that makes them look more custom and built-in, but because of the measurements that we had to work with in terms of depth and width, it just made a lot more sense for us to build our own from scratch. Naturally, the 3 cabinets that we built off camera went together flawlessly. This last one was almost a casualty flipping it over, which was hysterical. But the really defining moment was bringing these base boxes into the living room space. We did have to bring these in before putting the stone on the wall, so that way we did not need to scribe cut the face frames to the stone. We were able to have the stone meet up to the face frame, fill it in, caulk the seams. That is still not done yet, but getting ahead of myself, we made a Lowe's trip, grabbed all the supplies for the face frames, was able to wood fill, sand it down. But something that was really, really helpful was taking the time to lay out the stone. I measured out the fireplace opening, how big the wall was. My mom and I sat for about 3 hours laying stone out, and I have to say, taking the time to do this made all the difference in the application going more smoothly, but also the final outcome. I think that if we had to just fly by the seat of our pants and just pick up stone as we were going, it would not have turned out as well as it did. For our stone application, we opted to use a pre-mixed construction grade adhesive specifically for stone and masonry. It was very easy to work with. However, you did have to work in sections because the dry time took so incredibly long that the stone would actually slide on the cement board. So something to keep in mind. We are not professionals. This was our first time doing it, but overall it turned out great. For the upper portion of the built-ins, I wanted to add visual interest but still keep things simple. We did a vertical shiplap backing for where the shelves will go. We will be trimming out the top portion that the picture light is in, but I went through, did a coat of primer on everything that will be exposed, did my buff sand coat as well. That's super important if you are not going to be spraying, and even if you are, doing a sand coat in between each coat of paint just gives you a much smoother finish. At this point, all of the stone was up on the fireplace and we were moving on to grout. I picked out 2 samples that I was going to try, and I actually mixed small batches and grouted my sample stone, so that way I didn't have to commit to it being on the fireplace, but could see in a real application how it would look against the stone. All right, so here is a progress update. I have not been doing a great job documenting everything. Whenever you are filming, it takes 2 to 3 times as long to get anything done at all with the project. And with something this gargantuan, I could not be the reason to slow us down with this. So it's taking a little longer than we thought, but it is coming out so good. So we have the stone grouted up to the mantle point. We have this wrapped, so that way we don't have grout falling all over it or anything. It is the most perfect beigey, off-white, creamy color tone. I love it. And with the floors, everything just looks so good. So where we are currently at, we need to continue doing the grout all the way up. So we're about a third, lightly to say. I need to do a buff sand coat on both sides of the built-ins, paint the second coat. That's why it looks streaky. There's only 1 coat of paint on this. The picture lights look so good contrasting with the Urbane Bronze. Love them. We had Lake Norman Electric come out and install them, and they were really great about it. We need to do the under panels. So I actually have a plan for this because I want to make sure in the future, if we need to access things, we can. So we do have more of the shiplap that we used on the backs of these. We're going to get a panel cut to size, and I'm actually going to put magnets with a little tab. So that way, if we run into issues at all with electrical in the future, we don't need to sit there and pry nails apart or anything. So we're gonna do magnet panels there. Need to do the second coat of paint. We need to cut shelves for the tops and the bottoms. And we need to make doors. So this is not gonna get finished before baby comes. I wish it was, but just the reality of my husband working full-time, son's in school, everything's just crazy. So we have a whole bunch of different tools and everything shoved over there. But I mean, it is looking so good. Love the impact of it. Love this viewpoint moment. But I just wanted to check in because I feel like I have just been doing snippets here and there and not saying much of anything because we have just been cruising. But it is coming out so good. I will have all of the materials that we use, like the stone is Dorado. We used rough cut in Loire Valley. So like I'll have the grout that we used, the stone that we used, all of that information, colors in the video description. So in case you guys are curious about any of that, but this is where we are at so far. For the grout, I knew I wanted an over grout look. I think that it just gives it that more intentional aged appearance. Nothing is truly perfect with it. So again, this is our first time ever stoning anything in any capacity whatsoever. We're not professionals. This is just what worked for us. But we went through and put the grout in, gave it about 10 minutes, and then I went through and smudged it with my finger to help soften the seams of everything. And certain parts needed to be filled in a little bit more, so I kept a cup of extra grout that was a little wetter than what we actually put in the piping bag to help fill in any of the cracks and voids that I found throughout the process. Now, I will say I would highly recommend wearing gloves if you were working with sanded grout because I had micro cuts all over my fingertips. My husband did too, but Here through this time lapse, you can really see it take shape when it is piped versus being smudged out. And we did go through afterwards, after it dried a little bit more with a sponge, just to help soften it that much more. But I will say waiting to do this step is really, really important, because once you get the grout wet again, it moves around a lot more fluidly. And so it was actually removing it rather than just softening it. But this is where we ended up. Again, this footage is from the end of December, right before Christmas, hence the Christmas tree being up. But this is where it stands now as well, from where we started to where the progress ended up. And we are so very happy with it. Again, I will have any of the products that we used listed down below, brand names, colors, types. If I missed anything, please feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I'm happy to help wherever I can. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the progress of where we started to where it's at right now. So that is going to wrap up today's video, friends. I sure hope you enjoyed seeing the progress of where we started with this project, where we're at now. There really is not much left to do when you actually think about it. The biggest things that are going to make impact are doors and shelves. And from there, it's all just little finish work type stuff. And it's coming along so beautifully. I'm so glad that we're taking the time to do things the right way. Little things here and there have happened in the midst of it. There's never a project without at least 2 Lowe's trips in one day, or something going wrong unexpectedly. But everything is fixable. That is what caulking and wood filler are for. I'm a true believer in that. So you got to just go with the flow with it. But I'm excited that I was finally able to put all of this together for you guys. I know the end clips are from right before Christmas, so there's a Christmas tree in the mix, but I promise it's down now at this point. But once this is all truly buttoned up, shelves are up and everything, I'm going to be doing a finalized project look, decorating the built-ins, and share that with you guys. So I'm excited for when that's to come. I have no ideas for timeline of that, because obviously we have a now 2-month-old, which is just absolutely wild to me, but things will happen when they happen. But I'm excited for how it looks now. I know so many of you have loved seeing the glimpses of the fireplace as well, and it just truly has transformed the space in our home so very much. But thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate you guys spending the time with me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, friends.